Welcome to Your School News. I'm Caleb Paul. Students are finally back in school and we are glad to be back on air with Your School News. Topping our newscast, Board of Education notes from the October 6th meeting, students return to school for in-person learning, Trask Middle School delivers school supplies via a mobile learning lab. Our top story this week, the new Hanover County Board of Education held their regular monthly meeting on Tuesday, October 6th at the Board of Education Center. With the board notes is YSN reporter Johan Yellow.
The October Board of Education meeting was a long one, focused on the return to in-person learning under Plan B. Let's get right to the board notes. Under recognition of achievement, the Department of Communications and Outreach recognized 4 administrators and teachers for their outstanding achievements. Glenn Locklear was recognized for becoming a North Carolina Fellow for the Center for Racial Equality in Education, also known as CREED. Donna Sloan was recognized for being selected for the North Carolina's Governor's School Re-Envisioning Committee. Wilmington Early College teacher Jennifer Tabor was recognized for earning a National Geographic Educator certification. And Student Information Supervisor Emily Jones was recognized for being awarded Power School's 2020 Innovator Award. The Community Partner Showcase was with our community partner Work on Wilmington, and they were recognized for their work on solving community problems and for their service projects throughout the city of Wilmington. Under Information, Eddie Anderson, Assistant Superintendent for Operations and Planning, updated the board on the county's procedures for cleaning, disinfecting schools, and providing personal protective equipment. Next, Policy Committee Chairman Nelson Boyer introduced 19 new policies for first reading to the board. Finally, NHCS Instruction Deputy Superintendent LaShawn Smith presented the 2018-19 Annual School Accountability Report, along with the 2019-2020 Graduation and Limited Re-Roster data for schools. Under Head Start Board Liaison Nelson Boyer presented the monthly reporting of enrollment and ongoing oversight data, program updates, health and safety updates, and financial reports to the board. Then, under consensus items, one personnel report was given by Superintendent Dr. Charles Fouts relating to the reporting of all recent and upcoming hires, transfers, retirements, and resignations of current personnel and applicants. Old business included the second reading of 17 policies, and all the policies were recommended and approved by the board. There were 4 items for discussion under new business. The board brought forward 2 memorandums of understanding, one with Cape Fear Community College's Interpreter Ed program for supporting student interns in their field experience, and another was with Community in Schools of Cape Fear that outlined agreements for the provision of the Community in Schools model to support students by bringing community-based services into the school setting. Both were approved. Finance Department CFO Mary Hazel Small requested the board, in conjunction with the new Hanover County Board of Commissioners, transfer $25,000 from the bond contingency to cover the budget shortfall of an HVAC improvement project at Rachel Freeman School of Engineering. It was approved. Finally, the board approved moving the December board meeting to Tuesday, December 8th. The next regular Board of Education meeting will be Tuesday, November 10th at 5:30 p.m. at the Board of Education Center, 1805 South 13th Street. Members of the public are welcome to attend, but in-person attendance will be strictly limited to no more than 25 audience members in accordance with CDC Safe Social Distancing Guidelines. As always, if you cannot attend the meeting in person, you can watch the rebroadcast here on NHCS TV, Spectrum Cable Channel 5, Channel 191 in the Carolina Beach area. And that's your board notes for October.
Monday, October 12th marked the start of students returning to in-school learning, at least partly. Reporter Bobby Blue went to Mary C. Williams Elementary School and caught up with Principal Amy Oots.
I feel like I've been planning a wedding or something. It's just been so exciting. We've put so many details into thinking through everything so that make sure that all of the procedures are in place to keep the kids safe. Everybody is really excited to be back at school. I don't know who's more excited, the parents or the kids, but everybody's truly excited, and we put a lot of time into planning it, and so I feel like our planning's really paid off. Things have been really smooth this morning.
Bradley Creek Elementary School has received a $5,000 grant from Trillium Health. They were one of the first 5 schools to have 50% of their staff register and complete 2 of the qualifying courses on the Safe Schools Healthy Kids NC.org learning portal. The portal provides teachers and other school employees with immediate web-based access to evidence-based practice models, resources, and materials that are particularly relevant with school closings and the impacts of the pandemic. With the additional funding, Bradley Creek is able to purchase a variety of instructional resources to support remote learning and school improvement goals. Trillium Health will provide the big check during a short presentation at the school. Bradley Creek Principal Dr. Kay and her staff were excited for the grant and look forward to using the funds to help students. During this school year, kids weren't able to go to school and had to do remote learning from home. Many kids do not also have reading materials at home. Seeing this, Trask Middle School decided to step up to the plate and deliver reading and learning materials to the kids.
Trask Middle School decided to go the extra mile and connect with their students face-to-face by having a learning lab. The teachers took buses and went into local surrounding neighborhoods and gave out books and other supplies that the students needed. The teachers and staff were also able to interact with their parents. The kids were very excited to see their teachers in person as they got all their books.
I think we've seen a really positive response from the kids and parents. I think they're honestly just so excited to be able to meet their teachers in person and have some sense of normalcy. And they're also super excited to get books and maker kits.
This learning lab that took place a few weeks ago gave teachers a chance to connect with their students before eventually entering into Plan B. And after the multiple weeks of being indoors, they couldn't be happier. Reporting for Your School News, this is Peter.
1 million meals. That's how much New Hanover County Schools has served up since its expanded meal service program started in mid-March. The program encompasses 44 different school locations and more than 20 neighborhood sites. This is especially important during the pandemic as many children rely on school lunches in order to eat. Thanks to the amazing, dedicated, hard work by our school system cafeteria workers and bus drivers. Thousands of kids and their families are provided a completely free meal Monday through Friday every week, rain or shine. This is Your School News on cable and online. Look for our blue logo for all the latest news online at www.nhcs.net.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self. And I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
Welcome back to Your School News. I'm Caleb Hall. Due to this pandemic, this school year, we are combining parts of the morning show into Your School News broadcast. And one of the staples is This Week in History. We are happy to bring you this popular segment to Your School News. It was written and produced by New Hanover High School senior Elijah Lautenhauser.
Welcome to This Week in History, covering all the colorful and amazing events that have left their mark in the history books. This is the week of October 19th through October 25th. October 19th, 1985. The first Blockbuster video rental store opens in Dallas, Texas. Blockbuster became the world's largest provider of in-home movies and game entertainment. But as online DVD rental and on-demand movie services grew in popularity, it created more competition for Blockbuster, and in 2010 the company filed for bankruptcy. October 20th, 1973. The Sydney Opera House opens. The Opera House was built on Binlang Point in Sydney, Australia. The structure cost around $80 million to build, and took 15 years to be completed. The first performance in the complex was a production of Sergei Prokof's War and Peace. October 21st, 1967. In Washington, D.C., nearly 100,000 people gathered to protest the American war effort in Vietnam, and more than 50,000 protesters marched to the Pentagon. Polls were taken in the summer of 1967 and showed American support for the war had fallen below 50% for the first time. October 22nd, 2012. Cyclist Lance Armstrong is stripped of his 7 Tour de France titles that he won from 1999 to 2005, and was banned for life from competing in cycling. This was due to his use of performance-enhancing drugs. After denying it for years, he finally came clean in 2013 during an interview with Oprah Winfrey. October 23rd, 42 BC. Marcus Junius Brutus dies by suicide. Brutus was one of the leading conspirators in the assassination of Julius Caesar. During the civil wars in Rome, the Roman Republic's army led by Brutus and Cassius were vying for power against Octavian and Mark Antony. After losing to Mark Antony and Octavian's army in Philippi, Brutus took his own life. Now onto our week in history. October 24th, 1969. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kids is released in theaters all around the United States, starring Paul Newman and Robert Redford as a team of bank robbers in the Old West. The film was a commercial and critical success, receiving 7 Oscar nominations and winning 4. October 25th, 1881. Pablo Picasso was born in Malaga, Spain. Picasso made more than 50,000 paintings, drawings, engravings, sculptures, and ceramics over his 80-year-long career. He is most well known for his Cubist artwork. He continued to produce art until his death in 1973 at the age of 91. That's all for This Week in History, your ultimate source for those key moments in time. Thanks for watching.
The return of in-person learning, the time freedom many students have enjoyed during remote learning has shrunk. Here to help you with some time management strategies and organization tips is C-Tech High School senior Jason DeRugula. Be sure to take notes.
Hello, this is Jason DeGala, and I'm here today to bring you tips and tricks to help you become a more organized and time management savvy student. School today can often seem very hectic with studying for tests and completing assignments, all while at home. The added stress caused by COVID-19 and other problems only compound these issues. However, small improvements to one's lifestyle through better organization and time management skills can alleviate the weight on one's shoulders. These are 5 tips that anyone can use to help relieve the stress of school and to help improve understanding of education material. First, we look at organization. Color code notebooks and binders to help discerning different assignments and subjects with each other. Research shows that color coding can improve one's visual memory. Plus, color coding makes school more interactive and fun. Designate weekly cleanouts of your folders and other school materials. This will help you to prioritize what is and what is not needed in your classes. You can expand this idea further by cleaning out your room, your car, or even your entire house. Third, create a series of online folders to keep track with your online materials. This can be as easy as creating a folder to house documents for each subject. Customize this further by using creative icons for each folder to help you separate folders. Next, we turn to time management. First, create calendars or planners with all of your upcoming activities. Specifically, use a few different schedules to write down your activities for each area of your life, like using one for school events and one for family events. You can create them for either yourself to help with remembering important events, or you can create one for your whole family to use so that everyone is on the same page. Finally, try to eliminate half-work tasks, such as working on paper and stopping halfway through to check through your messages on your phone. Whenever you set out to complete a task, try to remain focused on the task at hand into completion. Stay focused on one thing at a time in order to improve your efficiency. Well, there you have it. 5 tips and tricks to help you live a more organized and time-managed life. There are also many more ways besides the ones in this segment that you can utilize easily. This has been Organization and Time Management Tips with Jason Dergala.
Great job, Jason. Thank you for those tips. Now we have more great news. Mary C. Williams Elementary teachers went above and beyond to help their students during remote learning. They held a school drive-by where students and their families could come pick up supplies. Teachers spread out across the pickup circle, handing out all types of supplies, including books, writing supplies, art supplies, and more. Each teacher had a smile on their face as they saw the kids' reactions when they pulled up and received their supplies. Kids waved with joy and were thrilled to see their teachers in person. For those that could not drive by, the school loaded up buses with supplies and delivered them to neighborhoods. Teachers and staff also rode on the buses to greet students and share smiles. Finally, while students have been out of school learning remotely, many high school students have been able to connect with outside businesses and work on meaningful projects. Thanks to a partnership with Cape Fear Collective, many students participated in an exciting program that expanded their horizons. With the full report is Wisestone reporter Jason Dergala.
Recently, a group of New Hanover County Schools high school students became active community members in 2 local businesses by presenting solutions to solve a common problem. The event was all organized by Cape Fear Collective and District C Cape Fear, nonprofits that strive to educate the next generation of business people to solve real-world problems. In collaboration with these organizations, New Hanover County Schools, Cape Fear Public Utility Authority, CFPUA, Live Oak Bank, and UNCW's Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship also took the initiative in creating this program. 15 high school students were selected by administrators and teachers at 6 different New Hanover County high schools to take part in this event. The students were coached in a week-long intensive program by Cape Fear Collective coaches on how to solve complex problems in business. Leah Harris, an 11th grader at Wilmington Early College, who took part in this event, explains the program further.
Basically, they give you a business partner, and our business partner was Live Oak Bank. You have a team within your cohort. So I had 3 other people on my team, and Live Oak Bank gave us like a real world business problem that we had to solve in a week. We did some interviews, we did research, and at the end of the week, you have to give them a pitch for how you think they should solve the problem.
Specifically, the students were asked how could leaders at CFPUA and Live Oak Bank could improve their relationship with their employees' mental and physical well-being. The week-long program culminated at a virtual presentation by the student-led groups to business leaders from Live Oak Bank and CFPUA. Solutions presented by students to address the business's problem included incentives for increased physical activity, implementing stress counseling through Zoom and telehealth calls, mental health awareness campaigns, and giving employees exercise time during the workday. Attending Live Oak Bank supervisors were highly impressed with the students' informative and thorough presentations, like Live Oak Bank's Chief Administrative Officer, Courtney Spencer.
It was incredible. It was very well thought out. I was most appreciative that you just didn't read your PowerPoint slides to me. You'd be amazed, even folks that have been in, professionals for decades, that's still to kind of go to in a presentation mode. So it was very easy for me to pay really close attention to what you were saying and the added context of your comments, in addition to the really thoughtful text and the slides themselves. So that was great.
Overall, the program was viewed as a great success, and students who were involved now have invaluable skills that they will be able to use throughout their careers. Cape Fear Collective's Director of Programs, Megan Lewis, is enthusiastic about the end result of the program. And in an interview by NHCS TV reporter Chase Fulton, Lewis explains how students can get involved.
As far as how the students were recruited, or the students we were looking for, District C, Cape Fear is an experience for all types of students. Certainly not only the valedictorians, but this is a chance for all students to get exposed to local industry and certainly local careers available in our region. And more students will have access to the program once all of these coaches are trained and take it back into their schools or organizations.
Finally, Lewis noted that she commends all the excellent work that New Hanover County Schools did to make this event possible, pandemic and all. She expects for the programs that Cape Fear Collective operates to grow tremendously and is optimistic about the future.
Now don't go away. We'll be right back with you.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey! There are amazing things to discover in the forest.
Toothless, time to go! What you picking up on, bud?
It's a whole hidden world of wonders. And the perfect place to spend time with family. What better place to let your imagination soar? Experience nature and create a memory you can share. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Welcome back to Your School News. I'm Caleb Hall. It's time for our Education Index, a look around the nation and the world at some of the top stories in education. Public health experts and educators are now warning that trying to reopen schools as fast as possible will lead to an increase in COVID cases and a return to online schooling further in the year. The director of Harvard's Global Health Institute said if your goal is just to keep schools open for a few weeks, then you can just go ahead and do whatever you want. But if your goal is to have an in-person education for any extended period of time into the fall and winter, you need a whole strategy. The National Education Organizations said that the schools need up to $245 billion in additional federal support to reopen schools safely. The Trump administration, however, has said that any additional federal support for K-12 schools will be prioritized for school districts that reopen for in-person institutions, even though there is a recent increase of coronavirus cases all through the country. In Florida, Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, along with the state education chief, enacted an executive order requiring brick and mortar schools to reopen 5 days a week for in-person learning by August or lose state funding. Some counties there reopened schools despite COVID infections rising as much as 20%. However, the executive order was eventually deemed unconstitutional by judges. The president of America Federation for Teachers suggested that we make sure people have perimeters and guidance so they aren't trying to figure it out by themselves. Huawei, the Chinese tech company, as a part of their Tech for All initiative, set out the DigiTruck to places in Africa that don't have immediate access to computers. These DigiTrucks are used to teach people how to use computers. The program has allowed students in South Africa and Senegal to be able to do remote learning during the pandemic. Martin Mugambi, a training manager at Computers for School Kenya, says during this pandemic, most of the young people have been able to use their skills to continue their studies. These were not only used for just students, but also business owners as well. One hairdresser who took the courses offered by the DigiTruck said, before DigiTruck came, I never actually knew how to use computers. It was the first time I was taught how to use it, and it made such an impact on me. In Europe, a similar program by the Belgian base, Close the Gap, is also helping with getting technology to communities in need by recycling old computers, tablets, and smartphones. According to the United Nations, 14% of households in Europe don't have internet access, and 22% do not have access to a computer, limiting things like distance learning. In Spain, Huawei has deployed the Smart Bus. These smart buses, while being developed in Spain, have been exported to other countries like Portugal, Belgium, and Luxembourg. Thanks to these organizations, many people now have an opportunity to be a part of this age of information that the world is today. The free application for federal student aid, also known as FAFSA, is the best way for low-income students to go to college. The maximum amount is the Pell Grant, which will give you 4 years of college, is $25,000. But to access it, students and their families must answer the FAFSA's financial questions, which can be very challenging for many low-income families who do not have access to all the information needed to complete the forms. An estimated $2 billion in Pell Grants go to unclaimed by students who don't complete the FAFSA. This year, there was a 4% drop in FAFSA completion rates. This is believed to be because many students are unable to get help from their school counselors. But in Louisiana, they have a mandatory FAFSA policy that saw a 25% jump in completion over just 1 year of it being enacted. FAFSA completion workshops hosted by state agency staff at high schools were a major factor in the increase of completion rates. It is still unknown to know what extent the pandemic will affect the FAFSA completion rate, not only here in North Carolina, but across the country as well. But we are sure to see a decline in the number of completed forms due to the lack of assistance by trained professionals. Federal stimulus for education and under-resourced school districts would make a huge difference. And laws like the HEROES Act or the Coronavirus Child Care and Education Relief Act would make these investments significantly more feasible with strained state and district budgets. Programs like ones in Louisiana will help underprivileged students be able to go on all across the country. This was your Education Index, a look around the nation and the world. Thank you.
One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, the boss's boss. If 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes, that means it could be you, your barber, your barber's barber.
Nice work.
Thanks.
You, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse.
Yes.
You, your dog walker,
On your left.
your cat jogger. Or you, your co-pilot, your co-pilot's co-pilot. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org to know where you stand.
Hey, Kevin, you thinking about retirement?
I'd love to, but I'm pretty busy with all this.
Yeah. Hey, let's meet our retirement coach, Avo. A is for taking action.
Not anxiety?
No, Kevin, you're gonna be fine.
You sing?
Barely. V is for variety.
And you dance?
Sort of. Come on. O is for optimize your savings.
Let Avo lead the way.
Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
Nice.
Thanks.
Welcome back to Your School News. I'm Caleb Hall. There's a lot going on Twitter these days, and with our NHCS chat hashtag, you can join the conversation. Right now, it's time for our What's Tweeting segment. All the latest NHCS news and photos that are creating a buzz on Twitter. Our first story comes all the way from Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where an NHCS alumni recently played football in a professional football game. Alex Highsmith, an Ashley High School graduate, now plays football for the National Football League team, Pittsburgh Steelers, and it is his first year in the league. During his October 11th game with the Philadelphia Eagles, his parents were excited to be in the stands cheering him on. Alex would go on to help his team win over the Eagles. Way to go, Alex. Next, we return locally to 2 organizations who stepped up to deliver much-needed PPE to schools in need. Champions for Compassion and Life Point Church recently donated 100 child-sized masks to a few of NHCS Title I elementary schools, such as Snipes Academy of Arts and Design and Freeman School of Engineering. These sponsors were highlighted in NHCS ongoing hashtag Leading the Way Twitter features that follows business and organizations that donate supplies as NHCS begins to in-person learning. Keep up the good work, partners. We now turn to Trask Middle School, where a teacher has been nominated for a state educational award. Harper Scala, a EC/ELA teacher, was nominated to represent NHCS for the North Carolina Center for Advancement of Teaching's Beginning Teacher of the Year Award. The award is focused on recognizing teachers who represent the future of education in the state. Ms. Scala will now move on to the regional level to earn a spot in the final round before the winner of the award is announced later this year. Good luck, Ms. Scala. Next, we give a big congratulations to NHCS and 3 teachers for being recognized with the 4-H Partner Award. 4-H, a youth development and mentorship organization, gave NHCS this prestigious award because of the country's efforts to positively develop its students for life. In addition to NHCS teachers Barbara Usuri, David Glenn, and Ryan Redd were all specifically mentioned for their efforts that contributed greatly to the county being given this award. Great work, teachers, and NHCS. Our last story today comes from Alderman Elementary, where faculty and staff were treated for all of their hard work during remote learning. Before students returned to Alderman for in-person learning this week, the school's assistant principal, Dale Miller, grilled dozens of hot dogs and vegetables for teachers and staff. This grill out was to help celebrate the school's return to in-person learning and thank the teachers for all their hard work during Plan C. Overall, everyone who attended were greatly indebted to the assistant principal's kindness and cooking savvy. You rock, Mr. Miller. This is Your School News on cable and online. Look for our blue logo for all the latest news at nhcs.net. Also make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And for the latest weather conditions, keep it right here for your exclusive Weather Plus forecast that's on the screen when you need it.